Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. Little hoarse today. Don't know why. Um, y'all saw the thumbnail. I was surprised too to see Sergio Martinez is trying to make a comeback. How we feel about that? First, let's turn to. Welcome back. As y'all saw in the thumbnail, Sergio Martinez is trying to make a comeback. He's actually 3 fights in his comeback, but I was shocked when I saw this. Um, First thing I like to do is a water check, as always. I'm up to 10 bottles as usual. That's 80 ounces. I'm either at 10 or 11. Um, I'll get there though. I'll get there. Like I said, my goal is to by this time during the day, like 7:30 in the evening, that I will be up to like 12 bottles. I just can't never seem to be there. I be on the road and I be thinking, yeah, I'm ahead of the game by like 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I must fall off or something, or I get caught up in something else. And I be like, damn. And I find myself 7:30 with 80 ounces of water drink. That's cool though. That's cool. Demetrius Bright is in the building, was popping king. He said he had to 74 ounces of water. That's what's up, King. That's what's up. Smash the like button, please. When y'all come in, smash the like button. Shout outs to all my Facebookers who are watching me live. Cool beans. But come on in to the actual YouTube channel and hit the like and subscribe button. I know that y'all hit the like button on Facebook, but it does nothing for my algorithms unless you come into the YouTube channel and hit the like and subscribe button. So hook me up. Hook me up. But anywho, I'm sorry for the cold. I'm sorry for snorting and everything. Whew, the winter got me. And I know I'm not even going to complain about the winter because I'm not in a place where the winter is really rough for a lot of folks in the country. So I can't really complain, but it got me. So I was surprised. I'm thumbing through articles and I see Sergio Martinez. Y'all remember Sergio, right? He was a good fighter. from Argentina, but made his home in Spain. When I first got introduced to Sergio Martinez, it was by accident, and I was like, a fighter like this from Spain, because we're not used to that. Sergio was the goods. He was the goods. Um, but due to injury, he fell off, especially after that Cotto fight. And I'm sure most of you have seen that fight. But so I was like, imagine my surprise to hear that Sergio Martinez is making a comeback. It shouldn't surprise folks because most boxers always they can't get enough. Some guys don't know how to leave well enough alone and just walk away completely, especially if they feel like they left something in the field. And in the course of a career, you can feel that way. There are times when you're at your greatest. There's times, when you're not. There's times when you have regrets, what you should have did, what you could have did, coulda, woulda, shouldas. But that's everybody in all walks of life and every type of discipline in life that you can think of. But boxing is not one of those things that you just toy with the fact of coming back. When it's time to go, it's time to go. Demetrius said he was decent, famous for that knockout of Paul Williams when Williams was the goods. Won't it, Dimitri? Now, I was a fan of Paul Williams. I knew that Paul was going to get in there and just piece him up. When that knockout came, I was like, what? I was liking Sergio up until that point, but not like I like Paul. I was like, oh my goodness. It makes you think, secondly, about motorcycle riding. And I'm telling you, you got a lot of people who like to ride motorcycles. God bless Paul Williams. He was riding his bike and tried to swerve from hitting a car going about 75 miles an hour. And of course, they said he was thrown like 6 feet and he landed on his head and his body, flipped over like a sandwich or just folded over. And so he didn't break his spine or crush it, but he bruised it. And if y'all look at my wellness show, I always say that's the one area where you don't reproduce a lot of cells in abundance. And the cells is going to help rejuvenate and reshape things. They're going to fix things. They're going to rejuvenate things. It's almost like getting a do-over, but not in your nervous system. And your spine is part of that. So when he folded over and he bruised it, I'm gonna tell you, just you can bruise the inside of your body by just touching it. So like when surgeries are serious, because even when they just touch something in you, is bruised. I can tell you just by getting my thyroid removed, I had to literally learn how to talk again. Why? Because the thyroid gland is near the vocal cords. And they wasn't pounding it like that or nothing. They was very gentle trying to peel that shit out. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk for a minute. I had to learn how to use my voice. And y'all hear me like today I'm hoarse. My voice, I have no control of my voice to this day. That was 25 years ago. So I can only imagine with his spine. But he he was a force to be reckoned with. And nobody had an answer. And he was moving up in weight classes, walking through motherfuckers. He was doing that too. Not a whole lot, because the accident derailed his career for sure. But you can only imagine that dude. He was tall for his height. I mean, for the weight divisions he was in the first place. So he was in lighter divisions. Like I think he start off at lightweight, but I know he was junior welterweight. Then he moved to welterweight. He was just moving up. But he had a tall frame that dictate he should be fighting at things like middleweight and all that stuff. But Sergio got him. That was crazy. And to me, that's Sergio's claim to fame. That's where Sergio got catapulted on another level. You know what I'm saying? We can't forget Sergio fight with Chavez Jr. Remember that one? Sergio was beating the hell out of him. And then that 11th round, Chavez Jr. came back out of nowhere. Now Chavez Jr., I talked about him the other day. He is a good fighter if he was disciplined enough. If he was disciplined. But you can't talk about Sergio without talking about Paul or without talking about Chavez Jr. Maybe Chavez, whatever. Paul Williams versus Mayweather was on the horizon. It was. He was building up. And I know a lot of people like to say that Floyd ducked Paul, but even Paul doesn't agree with that. Paul said he was building up, kind of like if we look at today's time, Jerron Ennis is building up. Terrence and Errol is not ducking him. One could make that argument though. Just like they made the argument about Keith ducking Spence. One could make that argument that they are ducking Jerron because how many different ways can Jerron ask for the fight? But to ask it in plain English. But the prevailing wisdom is Errol Spence has 2 belts. He don't need to be thinking about Jerron Ennis. He doesn't owe Boots anything to be looking backwards to try to come scoop him up and give him an opportunity. He has to be selfish in his career and think about himself. If he not looking at Terrence or Ugas, something is wrong. And I would say that about Terrence and Ugas. Now that y'all have belts, if y'all not looking at each other or y'all trying to look back at somebody else, something wrong with y'all. Smash the like button. I see the numbers go up and then they go down. If y'all watching behind the scenes, come on, just come on in and smash the like button. Hook a sister up. Just smash the like button. Y'all watching anyway. I'm telling you, when I get off, it'll be so many people who have watched. Just come on in and smash that. And subscribe if you haven't. Paul Williams was fighting the same fighters as Mayweather. For example, Sean Bay Mitchell. Yep. Paul, listen, I don't even know. And I'm Mayweather die hard when it comes to that ring action. Demetrius, I don't even know what was gonna happen with Paul and Mayweather. I couldn't even tell. I could not sit here and lie and say, "Oh, Mayweather would have got him." I don't know. I really don't know, because Paul was that kind of fighter. Like he was almost a sure bet. That nigga threw like 1,000 punches in the ring. Am I lying, Demetrius? Like, I think it's 1,000. He threw hundreds and hundreds of punches per round. Per round. I'm talking about from the first round all the way up. That dude threw punches. And obviously he could take a punch. But as he got older, something was up with that chin. Sergio figured that one out. Nobody else could really figure that one out. Did Paul get some gifts along the way? He got a gift a little bit. Kind of think he kind of got a gift with Laura. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Laura is one of those unique fighters. Laura will 1-2 you to death. He'll beat you with the fundamentals, kind of like a Kell Brook. They different, but they not, because they both for one. They got the best 1-2s, and they move around. They don't never just stay there. The crazy part about a Laura is he's predictable, but for some reason, folks couldn't figure him out. Hold on, 1 second, y'all. Let me tell my family come get this damn dog. She gonna hem me up. I don't know what be wrong with this damn dog. She just can't help herself. But anywho, yeah, they got the best 1-2s, arguably. And I don't even like Laura, because when he's about to lose, he start cheating. Demetrius Bryce said that would have been an interesting fight. Most believe Mayweather would have done him like Corrales. Yeah, it looked like he could have did that too. Corrales didn't throw though. He tried, and because Corrales was defeated, because and you can see it in the fight, like real time, because he would miss, and he's like disbelief. I don't know about Paul though. Paul never stops throwing. Williams got gifted with Laura. Paul was powerful and rangy. Used to be compared to Hearns. Indeed, indeed. So Demetrius, is it safe to say he was one of your favorite fighters as he was coming along? That dude, who knows? It's a lot of things that had not Paul had his accident. We don't know what boxing would be today, to be honest. It's a lot of things that coulda, woulda, shoulda happened. Thank you. That we don't even know. If he had a fought Mayweather, would he have won? Because I cannot say Mayweather would have won that fight. I could say it would have been very, very competitive. You know, I think Mayweather is a better boxer than Paul, but Paul, like you said, he was long and rangy. That was the Hearns right there. That was Tommy Hearns right there. No cap. That dude was a force to be reckoned with. And truth be told, he was so good that I was starting to like lean to him as my favorite fighter. Even though Mayweather was, it was almost like I was moving on in the Paul Williams train. Because the dude was awesome. And Sergio Martinez happened. I was like, what the fuck? Sergio Martinez too. Because you know they fought once. They fought the first time and Paul got the nod. And they both knocked each other down in that first fight. But when they had Sergio Martinez too, that was the one. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. I don't know if that's a good choice of words when I'm talking about Paul Williams, but that dude, oh my God. Oh, that was just a loss for damn boxing, him not being in the mix. I was a Mayweather fan, but I watched Paul in his kind of nervous. Paul in was kind of nervous if they had fought. Yeah, I would have been too, because I was like, I sit here even to this day, I cannot call it. Paul is one. Hyphy in the building was Poppin' King. Paul is one of the last throwback fighters we've seen. Indeed, he said, Miss T. I think Santos left a comment. Santos. Santos. Oh, I'm sorry. Santos in the building was Poppin' King. Paul was campaigning at 3 different weight classes during his reign. Yeah. Santos, look, we don't know where that dude was going to go with it. I'm going to tell y'all a little nugget. Right before his accident, do you know who he was preparing for? A pay-per-view fight with Canelo Alvarez. Can y'all believe that? If he would have fought Canelo Alvarez, he was due to fight him September 15th. And they were going to be the main event, not because of Canelo, but because of Paul. And I think he would have beat the fuck out of Canelo. Santos, I think he would have beat Canelo ass, and we'll be sitting here today like, Canelo who? He got Paul Williams problems. Can y'all imagine if he would have got to fight Canelo? You know what I'm saying? Hyphy said, thing I like about Williams was the most the thing I like about Williams was the most is he never blamed Mr. Peterson or turned on him. He accepted responsibility for his performances. He said he lives and dies with Peterson until the end. That's an admirable trait. He's not a blamer. He's not a blamer. And when you look at his interviews, he kind of shoots down the middle. People tried over the years to try to get him to say Floyd was ducking him. He ain't even walking around angry. Now, I'm sorry, walking around. He's not being angry in his life now that he's in the predicament he in. We don't know how he feel behind closed doors. You know, we know how boxers, they live and die for this. You know, I'm talking about Sergio Martinez. It's hard to talk about him without talking about Paul Williams because Sergio did the unbelievable. But Sergio want to come back. So I could sit here and think that Paul Williams would is, you know, he feel a certain way. However that way is, he feel a certain way. about not being able to mix it up in that ring, and his career was, shortly derailed before he can really be the star that he was going to be. I really believe that dude was going to be top notch. At the time, Paul would have beaten Canelo like Hearns did Durant. I agree. Hyphy said, I spoke with Paul about a year after his accident. He wasn't worried about the accident at all because he was under the impression he was going to exercise himself into being able to walk again. Now, technology has changed, Hyphy, because you remember he did not crush his spine. He bruised it. And bruising in the inside, it do take a long time before it gets better. It just does. However, technology today with stem cell research, um, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with stem cell research. I don't know that much about it. The little bit I do know is that they know how to take a cell and reverse it back to its beginning. So, like when you want to build an ear, because it's a cluster of cells once the egg and sperm meet and be fertilized together, and it's on its way to being a baby. It's a lot of cells, and there's a lot of DNA strands. The DNA is the code that builds the ear, that builds this, and just who you are DNA wise. They could take an ear, because people who lose their ear now, they can build you another ear, your ear, from your cells. So I wonder, can they take a modicum or just a small amount of cells from his spine and rebuild it and kind of insert it and speed the process up? If your spine column or your nervous system rebuilds cells like everywhere else in your body that does it every day in an abundance, I wonder, because it's not crushed. That's why you see him, he can move like this in his chair. It's just he can't walk. I wonder. And even if they were to fix him, I still wouldn't advise him to come back and fight. I would just, I would be happy that he could walk again. What y'all think about that? And I'm sure he got his finger on the pulse, because that dude seemed like he one of them people that he speak it, believing, and he gonna achieve it. That was one of my favorite fighters. At the time, Paul would have beaten Canelo like Hearns. And yep, exactly, indeed. So we know Sergio fought Paul and won in this second fight. That was a good fight. The first fight, they both was going at it, knocking each other down. But Paul edged them, or at least according to the cards, the judges. But he fought Sergio for the second time, and that's when that famous knockout happened. They had 2 minutes and 2 seconds left in the round of the second round, and Sergio caught his ass. Do y'all remember the interviews afterwards? They swarmed on this dude like nobody else. Like the things the reporters were saying, I was getting upset for him. They was like, so now, like, it was almost like a ha. So you ain't all that after all. This is how I was taking it. This is not what they said in the interviews, the subsequent interviews after the fight, but this is how I was taking it. And someone reporter asked him, like, do you think now that you should change? Because he had an awkward style of fighting that he's unique in his own self. You wouldn't just bring a person in the ring or in the gym and start training them to fight just like Paul Williams. Paul Williams is Paul Williams, just like Pacquiao. You would never train nobody to fight like Pacquiao. That is a bunch of no-nos going on there. But Pacquiao make it work for him. And that's how Paul was. Paul bombarded you with so many punches. Them shits hurt, and he was rangy. And he didn't give up his height like talking about it neither. But he had some openings. He had some openings. And if y'all think about it, Paul had them long arms. It wasn't like he was doing a short distance punch like a Gary Russell do. Because Gary can punch you from a short distance really hard, but Gary can bring that bitch from Mississippi too and around the corner. Paul could do all those things too, but Paul was rangy, so he was like that. That couple of seconds matter if you're trying to fight him and be defensive or catch him while he's slipping. So when they talk about Devin Haney, how he's wide with his punches, that's a real thing. Somebody who's quick and can get there quick could fuck all them plans up. And that was Paul. But Paul, you had a punch with him. You was taking damage. Now, if you was one of them fighters and said, I'll take a couple of punches just to get one in, to your own apparel, at your own apparel. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I thought something had moved. Okay, my bad. So he fought Chavez Jr., right? Talking about Sergio. And the good thing about that is Chavez showed you what he could do. Chavez Jr. is not committed. He's really not committed. I ain't gonna call him a bum, but he's not worth the money, in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't go to a fight if he was the main event. I'm not paying for that because you don't know if he's really into the fight. Chavez, he don't know how to stay committed just in the training camp. What's training camps like 8 weeks? You can't count on him to stick to the diet or stick to the exercise or whatever. Only thing I could think of is Chavez Jr. probably drinks and he probably smokes. He probably does whatever. I ain't gonna put nothing else on him. His daddy was on that shit. That's probably why he was as good as he good. Hey, they got a documentary. I ain't telling no secrets. Chavez Sr. was known to dance with that white powder. And if you take that shit, you don't feel shit. So how you fight somebody who don't feel shit? And instinctively muscle memory telling them to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you, but they don't feel shit coming back at them. And we say like Terminator. So we don't know if Chavez Jr. had them same problems. But he was definitely more lazier than his father. Hyphy said, if you attempted to turn Paul into a traditional fighter, you would have to ruin him. You would have ruined him. His meat talk makeup wasn't his and mine talk makeup wasn't built to fight like a technician. Yeah, I don't agree with turning people outside into something that they're not. He was unique. That's what I mean by he's unique. What you don't do is look at a Paul Williams and say, hey, I'm gonna train you to fight just like him. That was uniquely Paul. You got like Mayweather is very good, but he do a lot of traditional old school shit. Like he mastered that shit. He put a little of his stank on it, but you can't train nobody saying I want you to be the next Mayweather. Be the best you. But you can look at Mayweather move and then try to master it. Because it's fundamentally sound. That's good for Mayweather. Smash the like button, please. Smash that joint. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want to teach somebody how to be a Pacquiao per se, no. I would never coach nobody and say, you know how Pacquiao do this and do that. Never in a million years. That's uniquely him. Pacquiao know the fundamentals. Paul Williams knew the fundamentals. Sergio Martinez knew the fundamentals. They just put their stank on it. Sergio's the big claim to fame is that he knocked out Paul. That's what put him on the map, in my opinion. He was already kind of there. People liked him. He was a good fighter. But when he signed that contract to fight Paul, we knew he was done. And it was a shocking upset, or it shocked us because what? In the second round? And the reporter was asking Paul, like, you want to change now? Now you see that we trying to tell you that, blah, blah, blah. And Paul was like, y'all weren't saying that shit when I was housing niggas all this long time. Why would I change? Because one person got in? What's wrong with my approach? And Paul was right to say that. To me, he kind of left that interviewer speechless. I remember that shit like it was yesterday. Because that was just a big, big fight. Back to Sergio. Sergio was eventually demolished by Cotto. We all remember that fight. Soon as I saw the knee brace on, and ever since then, when I see somebody with a knee brace, I be like, here we go. Motherfucking remember the fight Terrence Crawford had with Benavidez? Knee brace. I was like, it ain't Terrence's fault. Terrence did what he's supposed to do. Benavidez can hit hard, but he is not a boxer. I'm talking about the older brother. Neither one of them box like they supposed to. But the youngest one, unique, he's another unique fighter who does his own thing, how he does it, and nobody got an answer for it. Most people don't have an answer for it. We hope that him and Canelo will get in the ring because maybe Canelo got an answer for it. But David Benavidez is a force to be reckoned with. His brother can't do what he do. David is tall, rangy. It's kind of what you just said about Paul. And David throws punches and punches and punches, and they hurt. So you can be a fighter that say, I'm going to take a couple of the give one. I don't know. With Paul Williams and people like a David Benavidez, that might not be a smart move or a winning strategy. Not to mention, he was a southpaw. Exactly. Tyson Fury had to be on that powder to sustain Wilder's KO punches. Exactly. I'm still in awe how Tyson kept getting up. I'll hope I'm alive in the future when the documentary. Yeah, we all got to see it. He gonna tell the truth one day. He gonna tell the truth because he can't help it. He run his mouth, so he gonna tell the truth. I think Deontay feel a certain way about how everything worked out because two fights I could really say Deontay technically won. They just didn't call it for him. The Wayne matchups is in the building. What's popping, King? Where you been, Dwayne? We was talking about your brother, your cousin yesterday, and I'm gonna tell you, Dwayne, Gary won that fight. I don't know what the fuck everybody was looking at, but Gary won that fight. And he got robbed. He got robbed, and it wasn't like highway robbery, but he got robbed because he won and they didn't give it to him. I'm so mad for Gary. For Gary, but keeping them streets safe. I hear you, King. Say he was working, keeping them streets safe. But back to Sergio. So I'm like, Sergio, what the fuck? And then y'all remember Sergio. Let me tell you. And I'm going to choose my words very, very, very carefully. Sergio was into bullying. Like that was his little niche. Like a lot of like you could be like save the whales or whatever the case, save the animals. For him, it was the bullying thing. He was doing it way before it even got popular to where it is now. You can actually, dub him as one of the originators of jumping on that bandwagon of bullying and how it's not warranted and it shouldn't be that way. And he took an interest in one little girl, this little black girl, right? Um, you say, yeah, we know they didn't want him to have that belt for a long time now, yeah. But the good thing about it, Dwayne, Max Hale can hide that bitch for a long time. He not. And I don't care what nobody say. I don't trust. I just don't, y'all. I don't trust him or Casimero. The only person in Pacquiao's team or in his stable that I trust is Isaac Cruz right now, and he could always change my mind depending on how he move in these streets because he seemed more like a solid person. But Casimero and Maxwell, they're charlatans. I tell you, they're charlatans. PGH Big Dog is in the building. Was popping, King. He says salute Queen T. So Sergio, back to Sergio Martinez. He took an interest in this little girl, young black girl. She was like 14, 15 or something. She was getting bullied. And I remember when the first time, he would bring her to the fight And I was like, cool, cool. But this is what I was thinking. There's 350 million people in America. There's probably approximately 7 billion people in the world. Bullying goes on in children, especially with children and adults too. It's bullying everywhere. It's in politics, it's in schools, it's in sports, it's in everything. And that was the only person that he took an interest in. And when he started, I was like, oh, who's the next person he gonna, rustle up? It's kind of like, and I'm not saying he Michael Jackson, y'all. Don't put no words into my mouth. But you know how Michael Jackson always took an interest in certain type of children. That's it. You never seen him hustle up a bunch of young little girls all the time like he did the little boys. You never really seen him outside of Webster, and I'm trying to really think. Black wise. There's always white little boys. I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying this is what you saw. I ain't going beyond that. Y'all Michael Jackson fans, don't come for me. We know that we saw that. And so the type of mind I got, because I was an analyst even back then, I'm like, why you keep bringing the same girl talking about bullying? Surely by now, he didn't, help that situation along just a tad bit. They done figured out something. Maybe he gave her mother some money so she can go to a different school, or maybe they was homeschooling her or whatever. But she became the face for him, at least, of just bullying. It has been ordered already that Maxwell has to fight Leo Santa Cruz or Ray Vargas. Wow, wow. Look at the fuckery. Look at the fuckery right there. Demetrius. Oh my goodness. So Ray Vargas was the original um, mandatory fighter for Gary. But Ray couldn't get the job done. Somebody must have knew that. So we're gonna put sipping tea ass motherfucking Maxwell on him and line up the judges just right. This got Mr. Cantone hands all over it. Mauricio, it's got your hands on it, all over it. I could see that. This is why Leo kept saying, if I win at 130, I'm going down to 126. And I was like, huh? If you win at 130, why don't you stay at 130? Why are you going backwards? See what I'm saying? Gentrification is real in the field. It's not only with neighborhoods, it's in the sporting world too, i.e., the boxing world. PGH Big Dog said WBC continues to show their anti-black ways. Exactly. I don't care about the WBC belt, but I can't never advise a fighter to, just straight up be like, fuck that belt. They work so hard. It's one of those precarious things that, you're working all your life. And all your life meaning who the fuck goes into training for their career at 8 years old but boxers and other sport people? That's a lot. That's a lot to put on some young person. Doctors don't start off at 8. They allowed to be kids. Boxing is one of them sports. It's like a master. Is when I be saying you can't serve two masters. Like when I be talking about Ryan and all the pipe work he been doing and making these babies and all that, but you ain't even established yourself. And I say you can't be a great father and be a great fighter. You haven't made it to great fighter yet. Smash the like button, y'all. Smash the like button. Indeed, I straight agree with what y'all saying, PGH and Demetrius, and boxing matchup. That shit that they did to Garrett, that's fucked up. But Dwayne, you probably got to look at it. Look at my show from yesterday. There's some things I would like the Russell clan to change, but I'll let you cook. I'll put the link in the chat, but hold on, y'all. Let me get through this. So Sergio, right? He used to bring this little girl. And like I said, he came to a lot of fights. And, I'm being careful what I'm saying. It just didn't look right to me. Started to me to look, and her mother was sitting there. but it looked like a date. Okay. All the time, all the time. This girl even, I think he flew her to Spain. I lived in Spain. I told y'all, I revealed to you guys, I don't know if y'all watch my grown woman talk. I revealed to you guys that when I got to Spain, I was 22 years old. I'm in the clubs. Now I'm clubbing hard like a young 22-year-old should. And I'm seeing folks in the club. I'm thinking they my age. You know, if you have like a young look, you don't think about shit like that. You know, to people at that time, I could have looked 15 and 16, but I don't think like that. I know I'm 22. So, you know, hell, when I was growing up in my mama's house, she let me know exactly how old my young ass was. So I don't be thinking, oh, you know, oh, they could see the 22 years on me. Or maybe I look 15. I'm gonna show y'all a picture. Some of y'all didn't like the picture. Grown woman talk. They were like, "Oh, Miss T." Let me see where I find that picture. Oh, did I cut it out? Okay, y'all don't mind me. This is 22 years old, Miss T. That's 22 years old, Miss T. That was me, 22 years old. And the guy, and I wasn't in America. The guy who was hugging me, unbeknownst to me, was 16. When I found out he was 16, I was like, oh my God, I've kissed this dude. I've danced with him. And I mean, you know, danced with him. I was all on him. I went and we have been dating, if you want to call it dating, for like a couple of months. I went, and this is story time. And I went and it's like I was turning myself in because I didn't fucking know. And I went to my chief and I told him what happened. And I said, I didn't know. But I was like, I'm ready to face the consequences. He laughed at me. He said, you're in Spain. I said, well, what the fuck does that mean? He said, when in Spain, do what Spaniards do. I said, okay, but what does that mean? And he was like, you don't know? And I said, no, what? He said, they don't care about age here. If you can reach the bar, you can come in. What? And I'm gonna move on past that bully shit that Sergio was handling with that little girl from America, that little black girl. Spain is something else. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Y'all got any questions? Y'all can ask me. I went and talked to this guy's mother, and she was like, "Girl, I ain't worried about that." I don't know. I know people tell me I look young. I probably look as young as he was. But how the fuck I'm supposed to know? I thought when you're I'm 22. I just got of age to even go in a bar or a club. I ain't know. That's real facts, y'all. That's the truth. It's a little nugget about Miss T. I can't say I regret it because if I knew better, I would did better. But I didn't know. But that's what I could tell y'all about Spain. And I lived there twice. Twice. Lived in my own home amongst the community twice. I know Spain. Okay. I'm going to leave it right there. So when I think of Sergio Martinez, that's what I be thinking. Anywho, he, you know, like I said, his claim to fame was Paul Williams, you know, and Chavez Jr., because he embarrassed Chavez Jr. You know, they was building Chavez Jr. as the next best thing. So he derailed that. When he got in the fight with Cotto, though, his knees was bad. And like I said, ever since him, when I see somebody come into the ring with a knee brace, I'm just like, it ain't all this. If you got to put the knee brace on, your legs ain't under you. And you know, like boxing 101, if you don't have legs, if you don't got good foot movement or feet movement, however you say it, you pretty much is not going to be that great because that is needed. Only one person that kind of get away with not having good foot movement or leg movements right now is Canelo Alvarez because he got good waist from the waist up. He has great movement there. He hits hard and he's very strategic, but he has no feet or leg movement at all. He about the only one right now that I can see that can get away with that. Am I wrong? But in boxing, if you don't have that, I would think most coaches wouldn't even waste their time with you. I wouldn't waste my time with you. So that's just how I see it. But the knees was messed up. His legs was on shaky ground. It wasn't much he could do. I think he tried to sneak in a surgery, but you know, when you overseas or you out the country, a lot of things could get missed. And I think he went back to Spain and did some stuff. And you know, of course, whatever Spain don't have to send America nothing. You know what I'm saying? There's no extraditing uh treaty where they gotta send information and this, that, and the other for whatever somebody do in their country that we don't know about. It was something going on funny, but for the most part, everybody knew they, there's always a chance with Sergio, but Cotto won't nothing to shake a stick at neither. Cotto was a fierce fighter, and Cotto did what he had to do and show that dude that you ain't on my level. But Sergio with some good legs, I don't know. One thing we can say for sure at this point that Sergio legs from back then must have healed by now. I don't know what was wrong with him. We will never know. You know, Sergio was born in Argentina, but he made Spain his home. I'm tripping. Oh, somebody said something to me on my phone. Oh, Lord. You had to live in Spain to know what I'm talking about. um, After his loss to Cotto, he dropped out of boxing or simply hung his glove up. We didn't really hear much about him. That was 2014. But now he's trying to make a comeback. But what I like about Sergio, outside of that little one thing I was telling you about, the little bully thing that he was doing, because I forgot to mention this. He did have a wife or a fiance in Argentina, and it is alleged that he did put his hands on her. So that whole I don't like domestic violence and bullying and shit, just leave it at that. That's what made me think that way in the first place. Because I was like, well, this is a contradiction. But so, Cotto beat his ass. He disappeared kind of. We don't hear how to tell from him. Right now, he's 46 years old. What I like about him is he is not trying to just come and get a check or, he's on a mission. He wants a belt. He wants to fight Morado, the guy who's due to fight Triple G. Triple G is almost 40. So shout outs to the 40-year-olds that still think they can get back in the ring. It can be done. Bernard Hopkins showed y'all it can be done. George Foreman showed you it can be done. You know what I'm saying? So shout outs to if you feel froggy, then jump. Demetrius said better BF has slow foot movement too. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Demetrius. Thank you for reminding me. Makabu fights this weekend. Do he? Is it on Showtime? Chavez Jr. just got beat up by the Spider UFC fighter in an exhibition boxing match. That's sad. That's sad. It would not ever shock me if they came back and say that Chavez Jr. had a substance problem. I'm not saying he do. I'm not saying I know that he does or anything. I'm saying it will never shock me because he do things like a person who has that problem, and he makes some foolish decision. And sometimes, if you ever seen his dad when he in the ring, his dad love him. His dad want him to win, but that's that bravado. That's that bravado. His dad be like, God damn, man, you making the Chavez name look crazy. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know, growing up with a silver spoon in your mouth, so to speak, compared to what your dad had to grow up in. Maybe that's the difference why Chavez Sr., no matter what he was into, he knew how to get his ass up and go to work. This is something that didn't translate over to his son. And that's the problem. Because if Chavez Jr. wanted to be serious and locked down for 8 weeks and concentrated on his craft and didn't fuck around and stuck to the plan, he will be a force to be reckoned with. I read his record yesterday. It was 53-3 and 30 knockouts. Like 60 women. Shit. It's up there, something like that. I ain't even gonna go back and look. But it was a nice little record that I could be mixing his record up with Sergio's. I think I just did. But it's 60 fights and something. I don't know. But he had a nice little record. See, I don't like when I say I don't know. Let me see. 53 wins. He has 60 fights and 53 wins. That's not bad for a career. That's Chavez Jr. That's not bad. You know what I'm saying? But he just he not serious enough, and you could tell. This is why I say when I be talking about Ryan Garcia, if he ever was to listen to my shit and think that I was trying to, downgrade him, I'm telling what is. I don't have to downgrade you. You doing that to yourself. When I say you can't serve two masters, you cannot. Chavez Jr. is living proof. You cannot be non-committal to the sport and think some good shit gonna come out of it. You know what I'm saying? You're embarrassing yourself. But here's the thing, y'all. People paid for him to embarrass himself. He gets a nice little chunk of change for the embarrass himself. That name carries that much weight. And that's crazy. That is so crazy. That Sergio Martinez record isn't with 3 draws. Let me see. I wrote his record down. So when I'll get to it. I know I wrote it down. Right now, in his comeback, he got three fights, 3 wins. It's 53 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, and 30 knockouts. That's Sergio's. That's Sergio's record. He got 53 wins as well. 3, I don't know if they counting these 3 that he's been doing in his comeback. Sergio Martinez is 46 years old. And like I said, his knee, I'm sure, is well healed by now. That's what took him out of there with Cotto. He didn't have no legs to fight no damn Cotto. And you need some legs to fight somebody like a Cotto. The question is, what has he been doing all these last however many years he been out the game since 2014? That's what, like 6, 8 years. What has he been doing? What has he been doing? Has he blown up or ballooned up? And then, a couple of years ago, decided to start, getting back in shape, because while we were sleeping, he was fighting since 2020, maybe over there in Spain. So we don't know about it, because we'll be going over there in the boxing world in the country of Spain. We don't know about it. But we can't keep acting like they ain't got no good nuggets, because you just seen what happened to what's the boy name? Mikey Whitey Garcia. Mikey Garcia said he white, so Whitey Garcia. You see what just happened to him, and that was a guy out of Spain that pieced him up. So we don't know what Sergio been doing. If Sergio is 46 and he been, growing older, since then, and then ballooned up and then try to lose weight again, that's not good. That's not good for him. Because all of that, the more you fight somebody at a top tier fighter, that's gonna be bad on your body, and he in his 40s. So he only knows his body. That's his choice. But he is making a comeback. What I like about his comeback is he want all the smoke. He is coming back for a championship belt. He's not playing around, and I believe him. Do I believe he will be victorious? That remains to be seen. I don't know if he's on some kind of time where If he lose the fight, is he done fighting? Is that gonna be the hint and a half that like I only take it back to the house? Or I don't know what he gonna do. He's fully understands that although he's going for Murata, who has the belt right now, he understands that when Triple G and Murata fight, then that could be Triple G having the belt. That means he have to fight him. They're not too far apart in age. Triple G is 40 and he is 46. So Triple G is either about to turn 40 or he is 40, like this year. So that's not too bad as far as age difference. If he and at 46, he would know if he's in shape to do what he's trying to do. Because in your 40s, that's when shit hit you. It's gonna hit you long before 46. Some people mid 45, some people right when they turn 40. But like I said, he has a 3-0 comeback record. He was doing that while we were sleeping. He started that, and I want to say like August 2020. So we wasn't even checking for him, but that's what's going down. He's due to fight somebody named Macaulay McGowan from Britain on Thursday in Spain. I don't know how we get this fight. I would love to get this fight. I don't know. Anybody got any suggestions of how we can see a fight that's not going to be on any major network, but is somebody going to tape it? I'm sure if you lived in Spain, you will get to see the fight. But I'm so interested in seeing that fight. Like I say, he's born and raised in Argentina, but he made his home in Spain. His goal is to get the fight with the Ryota Murata, who holds the WBA middleweight belt. Or he even threw in Chris Eubanks Jr. And that's a tough fight too. Because Chris is younger. This kid he gonna fight this Thursday is 27. If he can get past that, age might not be a factor. Or Triple G, he don't care. Whoever got the belt, you can't ask for nothing more than that. I don't like me personally. I'm not interested in a boxer coming in talking about I just want to make the money. I just want to be flashy and all that. That's cool. I don't have to, as a fan, line your pocket. That ain't what my job is. If y'all look at football, y'all want to see the Super Bowl. I want to see a champion. I want to see unification, and I want to see undisputed. That's my Super Bowl in boxing. If you ain't about that, then I don't have to line your pocket. I don't have to make you rich. And so Sergio already coming back, talking the way I like, or way most people would probably like. So he is chasing the belt. All I can say is I can respect him. I can respect him for that. We'll see. I don't know what his fate gonna be after he faces this young lion at 27 years old. But we'll see. If we still hear about him after that, hey, we got to put some eyes on Sergio. Because we know that Sergio can do what he got to do. But shout outs to him. Shout outs to Paul Williams too. And oh my goodness, what life would have been like had Paul had an opportunity to get at Cinnamon Canelo Alvarez. We'll be sitting here, in my opinion, saying, Canelo, who? Who the fuck is that? They were like, the one with the red hair. The white dude from Scotland? No, the Mexican with the red hair. Oh, the one Paul knocked the fuck out or knocked back to Mexico. That's how I feel. I think Paul would have did some damage. So anywho, I'm gonna move on. Shout out to you, Sergio. We'll be watching. I'll be looking. I'll keep y'all up to date. Alex Krasjuk, I guess that's how you say his name, Krasjuk, believes that 20 million step aside offer to Joshua is a wise and just move for AJ to take. What do y'all think? We talked about this week. AJ, I told y'all yesterday, they wrote in the Telegraph that AJ took the deal. And I kept saying euros. It's 15 pounds because, AJ is English. And the English did not get with the euro thing. They still have pounds as we still have dollars. But 15 pounds is kind of like $20 million. So that's why I'm gonna just keep saying 20 million, not to confuse nobody. But Krasuk, who is the promoter of Usyk, is saying that AJ should take that. Now, we talked about how Tyson Fury, as usual, and his team trying to put the cart before the horse, talking to Usyk and his team behind closed doors. Sometimes we know if it's true, we don't know if it's true or not. But remember, Tyson came out before the trilogy. It was like him and Eddie and them was trying to set up a fight with him and AJ. The arbitration wasn't even done. So how you putting the cart before the horse? But Tyson is known for that type shit. So they want to bypass AJ, but they gotta pay him. But AJ don't want that money. AJ do not want that money. My opinion, he shouldn't take it. He should try to get his belts back. I don't even like AJ that much, but I'm just saying. Right now, he the home team, so I gotta go with AJ. Apparently, Fury's team is not the only one interested in going straight at the undisputed, and that's what I mean. Krasuk, if he's Usyk's promoter, he's interested too. So it won't just Fury in them. You know what I'm saying? Smash the like button as y'all come in. Please, please, please. Smash the like button as you come in. That'll help me with my algorithms. Please do. We already know AJ ain't with it. You know, Krasuk feels if AJ get the 20 million step aside with the promise. This is the thing. This is the piece de la resistance. With the promise and guarantee to face the winner of Fury and Usyk. I give it the gas face. I give that the gas face. A promise, guarantee. When you're talking about Tyson Fury, there's no such thing. He's a charlatan. Charlatans don't make promises. Grifters don't make promises. And if they do make them, they don't honor them. I should say they don't honor them rather than make them. Everybody know that. AJ will be a damn fool to go into any kind of gentleman's agreement with them fools. Please. Crucial feels that AJ should get that. He should do it with the promise and guarantee to face the winner of Fury and Usyk. That is the better play or the better deal. No, it's not. To me, that's going to cause many potential problems with that. First of all, we got to talk about the location where this shit supposed to happen, because Usyk is from Ukraine. Surely he will want to fight there, but he know realistically ain't no money in that. Ain't nobody coming to that shit. So it's better off to do it somewhere else in Europe, preferably the UK somewhere. But wait a minute now. Tyson don't have a damn license, and he can't get one overnight to him or FedEx to him. That shit don't work like that. He didn't stick around to adjudicate the problem that took the license in the first place. You can't just pick up and say, please, 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 we'll pay this board, whatever. Hey, that's bribery on another level. Every fighter in the UK should be throwing, like, protesting like hell if that was to happen. He over there talking about something, he eating pig nuts, and that's why he popped dirty. Come on now. Who does that? He think he a Viking? Who does that? And then try to pay the dude to say that they was doing that, but nowhere in the history of UK them that they was growing motherfucking wild boars. Nowhere. But all of a sudden, as a convenient excuse, that's what he wanted to use. He saw he wasn't getting nowhere with them lies and that bullshit, so he dropped it and left. So in the end, the shit wasn't adjudicated properly, and they took his license. And if he wants his license, that's not an overnight fix. That's not even a week fix. It's not even months of fixing. It's gonna take months to years to fix. Because even after the adjudication, you got to be awarded a punishment. They know he lied. They're not going to give him his license. So where you going to fight, Dubai? That hurts you in the long run. Yeah, even though them folks over there will pay big money, they got the money to do shit like that, and you ain't have no audience. Ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about it. Some diehards will watch it, but your timing is everything. Whenever you can put the fight on, you either gonna disappoint the people in front of you, you're gonna that's actually there, you're gonna disappoint the people in the UK or Europe, you're gonna disappoint the people in America because the timing ain't gonna be right. I'm not watching no fight at 3 something in the morning. Just not gonna do it. So either you gonna who you gonna satisfy? The best place to have a fight would be in America. But AJ don't want to come over here like talking about it. AJ don't have great luck when he come over here. Remember his loss to Andy Ruiz? He don't have that kind of luck. AJ is comfortable in his own country. He rather do shit over there. So location is a problem. And if location is a problem, then that's a money problem. Why? Because they depending on that. It's how much they can earn. And I just told you to buy America and England. You can't make guarantees with Tyson Fury. As I said before, he's a liar. He don't like to be ordered. He don't like to be told what to do. That's his problem. You would think it's something more to that. That was an actual infraction being taken place, but really it boils down to that gypsy don't want you to tell him what to do. That's it. Tyson is going to retire if you get those belts. As sure as your name is whatever your name is. He's going to retire because he would have done it all. That would be the biggest fight for him. He would make the most money. The reason why he took the Deontay fight, because he was ready to shuck that shit off. He didn't give a fuck. He was willing for y'all to strip that belt and everything. But what caught his eye, what caught his attention is that $80 million that he would have had to pay out. He don't want to do that. Do he even got it? We know he didn't got paid here and there, but do he even got it? He didn't want to do that because there ain't nowhere for him to hide. He big as a motherfucker. He can't hide nowhere in the world. Motherfuckers will see him. He like a street light walking. You gonna see him. So 80 million, and plus the way he like to live. And if he owed Deontay 80 million, he was gonna have to owe somebody else some money. And once he'd have been stripped of his WBC belt, who the fuck wanted to fight him? Because everybody knew at that time Deontay shouldn't have gave him a reprieve. Like in hindsight, they was like, why you even say this dude? We was saying that by the second fight. Really after the first fight. So how was he gonna quickly, with the skills he got as a liar, charlatan, and grifter outside of boxing, how was he gonna make the money that he need to live like the way he want to live? Boxing was it. So that's why he showed up to Deontay, kicking and screaming and crying the whole way. Y'all know what I said about that fight too. That fourth round should have been over at that point. But ain't no sense in crying over spilt milk, right? But Tyson will retire after that, and the belts will be spreaded out, and AJ will have to start from scratch and earn those belts one by one. What about AJ that makes y'all think that that's what he want to do? AJ is never gonna want to do that shit. That sounds too much like work. He have to go and fight this person and that person and this person. Like he might have to face some real fighters. And this time around, I don't think people like Parker and Martin is willing to take a paycheck. if you know what I mean. I don't think they in the same business of selling belts. If you know what I mean. They're not gonna be in that business no more. The real possibility of Fury winning is big. He's a big guy. Standing over Usyk, I never say never. Usyk may shock us, but the possibility of Fury beating Usyk is very real. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Usyk is a great fighter. He's a great boxer. But the size advantage. So is Fury. Fury can box. He can move for a big guy. The size advantage of it all. See, the problem is Krusik, who is the promoter of Usyk. His eyes is bigger than their wallet. His eyes is bigger than their wallet. He's looking, he can't even see the forest from the tree. He can't see the big picture. He looking at the money he can make right now. He not thinking about the money he can make later with all the rematches and whatever and all the stuff going on. He don't see that. The better play is for AJ and Usyk to have their rematch because that's big money. That's going to be big money. The first one, nobody was pressed. They wasn't watching. Maybe we thought that AJ was going to win, but then the upset. So now Usyk got it. So people going to be watching this second time around. So that's big money. Eddie knows how to sell AJ in Europe. So that's where all that shit going to go down. And they're going to make some money. Fury and White, Bob will pay them good just to get this over with. He will, because Bob knows the real money is with the other three belts, whether AJ got him or Usyk got him. So he gonna pay him. They gonna get paid decently. Tyson will get paid because Bob put value in white folks. So even though it ain't worth it, Bob is gonna pay Tyson, especially if Tyson say, "Pay me my money." The winner of AJ and Usyk fights Fury. If Fury wins, that's a mega motherfucking fight. Smash the like button, please. Smash it. But that's a mega fight. If Fury fights the winner of Usyk and AJ, that is a mega fight. As I told y'all, once that shit go down, that means Tyson made money off of Dillian. One fight. Then he fights the winner of Usyk and AJ, number 2 fight. Tyson has already told y'all 2 to 3 fights he's out of there. He's already told y'all that. Tyson is not known for defending his belts. So you can guesstimate what he'll probably do. So if he fights the winner of AJ and Usyk, and that's a mega fight, they're gonna get paid. I bet you they'll get paid either the same or more than what they pay for Deontay and Tyson. Claim him and Deontay made about $50 million for their second fight. That's a lot of goddamn money. That is a lot of money. I'm talking about a piece. That's a lot of money. I was like, did I hear that wrong? That's a lot of money. So if he going for all the belts, if all the belts are on the line, whew, we kind of starting to sound like kind of close to. I don't know if it's the same or more, but close to Pacquiao and Mayweather. Talking about as far as generating that type of money. America is going to watch that fight because all the belts on the line. UK is going to watch it. The world is going to watch that fight. That's the better play. That is the better play. Now, if White wins, would Eddie Hearn be so happy? Because he's going to use White. And White don't know that that's his master. He doesn't know. We tried to tell him. We be like, White, we tried to told you. He carry you like he is your master. I was getting tongue tied. If White wins, he will be the gatekeeper of AJ. Y'all, let's not forget, AJ last year signed a 10-year contract. That's a long time to sign a contract. That means you're on the hook to fight for the next 10 years. This year starting out to be your first year. I mean, whenever you signed it to now, it ain't even been a year. So you still roughly got 10 years to go. It don't serve Eddie or AJ any good to be a non-beltless having fighter. What money is in it for that? AJ will be happy as a fat ass baby in a candy store to walk around with 3 belts only. He'll be cool with that. He can make White go through a whole bunch of roadblocks before he even get a chance to fight him, knowing that White could possibly lose to somebody And then that somebody is going to go through roadblocks too before they can fight AJ. It is what it is. Now that's the play. That's the play for her. It's a good play for Tyson too, because you're gonna make money fighting Dillian. Dillian is a name in the UK. Taco meat is what we call him over here. He don't, he don't drive up sales over here that much, but some people like him. Some people are watching for the sake of following that belt. But you're gonna make some money with Dillian, and then you turn around and fight the winner, and that's a mega fight. But if you try to fight Usyk, nobody's gonna be interested because we're gonna see the tomfoolery. So you're gonna lose a lot of fans in the process and the potential amount of money that you can make. Because that means Usyk got to come over here, and now y'all over here, and we ain't gonna support that shit. The better play is to do shit the right way. If AJ all that, he'll win. If AJ is really a fluke and just a person who's been lucky or they chose well for him, we're gonna find that out too. Either way, Fury, you could be sitting pretty. All you gotta do is be patient and stop being a blockhead. So that is the play. If I would think the Eddie Hearn play. Remember that, like I said, remember that AJ is signed with him, and AJ is his cash cow. So that's the big to do that's going on right now with that particular fight. But I'm gonna keep my eye on Sergio Martinez. I left the link in the chat. Did I ever put up the phone lines? Nope, I didn't. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna put up the phone lines. Let me see. Nope, that ain't it. I meant to do it. Just in case anybody wanted to call. Most time y'all don't be calling. Utilize the phone. Y'all have any questions or anything about what I just said? Sergio. Where far for out there, Sergio? I want to see. I really want to see. No, they didn't do that to me, did it? Well, the phone lines are open if you want to call in, even from the Facebook. I see you guys. I see you. Shout outs to all of you. The phone lines are open at 706 804 4449. 706 804 4449. Y'all can call in, smash the like button. Y'all can link in, y'all can put it in the chat. It wasn't much to talk about, other than, my boy Sergio trying to make a resurgence, trying to come back and see what he gonna do. I don't know. I don't know. If anybody can think of a way to somehow capture, or how do we go about finding his fight? Anybody know? Do anybody know how we can find any fights that come on in foreign countries that's not on major networks? Like, what link do you hit? Is it something you can find in YouTube or the internet? God, I wish I knew. Oddly enough, everybody's like, well, you live there, Miss T. Let me tell y'all about Spain. When I lived there, number one, the first time I went there, everybody was using beepers here in the States. Anybody remember beepers? That was the big thing. And not everybody could have one. Certain people had beepers, doctors, lawyers, judges, highfalutin people with jobs like that. But also, street folks had beepers back in the day when I first went. The second time I went back, before I left, it was still beepers, but it got more advanced. Like people could call you and leave their number. People could put little messages. I mean, it was just I had a beeper once. I ain't never really had nothing too much like that. I had a 1-800 number though, and somehow or another it was linked to my phone at the house. So if you wanted to call me from wherever, like let's say even my brother could call. I did it so my brother could call me from jail. That's real talk. I set up a 1-800 number so that way he just get on the phone. And y'all know about jail now, like how they had these phones. It's a business. It really wasn't that big of a business back then. You call somebody to collect, the phone company made the money off of your line. But nowadays, it's the prison system make the money through their phone system, whatever. So I made it I had a 1-800 number for that purpose only. But then I was in the military, so I knew people all over the world. So people could I was like, hey, this is my 1-800 number. But that, like I said, rang to my house. I went to Spain again. That was the technology. While I was there, after about a year, because I was there when they made the change to euro. Like I remember it like it was yesterday. 1 minute we was using pesetas, the next minute we was using euros, and you had to learn on the cuff how to deal with that. So right around the time that they went to euros, they also started getting cell phones, and they wasn't as advanced as here. Spain, in my opinion, where I was, because I was in the bottom of Spain, like the equivalent of Miami to us. So I was at the very bottom. Now, if you went to the major cities like Barcelona and Madrid, things seem a little bit more advanced. I mean, you can go to club with straight models and top echelon. I swear to God, like the celebrity, the mingling of it all, and they were just regular people. They party with you. I was like, what? So he said Bo age was good when deployed. Bo age was good when deployed. Who is Bo? I might be lost. Bo age was good when deployed. But yeah, it's actually when I had my kid the second time around. But I within that year they had the Euros come in, and then they had cell phones. And I was thinking, whoa, because I just left the States a year ago. Yeah, they didn't have all that. When I got back to the States, everybody and their mama had a cell phone. Everybody. I was like, oh shit. You said Vonage. I remember Vonage. Vonage was the phone source we used when deploying to Iraq. And I remember Vonage. It was in Japan too. I remember that. I had an account with Vonage. Yep. But in Spain and Europe, I was on their economy. It was nothing about American stuff. Matter of fact, the base in Spain did not belong to the Americans. We shared it with the Spanish. It was their base. If you came through any point, like gate or whatever at their base, it was their guys that was on duty. It was never an American at the front. And they funny, man, because like New Year's Eve or anything like something big holiday or whatever that everybody worldwide pretty much engage in, they be out there with their bottles, checking your ID, tossing out. You can never do that on an American base. But it just goes to show you it wasn't our base. Did we have more on the base? Yeah, they had a side. We had a side that accommodate like construction people, CBs. We also had a main side. We was there for the fleet, but then it was a whole side that was strictly Spanish based, and it's for Spanish fleet and American fleet. So, but it was their country. Like I said, it was their technology. But the whole point is they're not like big TV watchers and all that shit. So that's why I can't tell you where to go with that, because the whole time I was there, it was only like I was fortunate that I had a phone in my house. And most Spanish people don't even have a phone in their house. They don't even even to this day, they probably still build places that don't even have central air and heat. And you'll be like, what? That's so backwards, but it works for them. I couldn't tell you. Now, when you go up to Barcelona, and especially Barcelona, it's cold up there. So you don't want to be doing that shit when those, I don't know how they do their heat and air, but Madrid, they had air conditioning, but not where I was. They don't even, and that's most of Spain. Is they only have a couple of major cities, but most of it is, you know. Demetrius said in Germany, T-Mobile was the phone source back in the day. Do you think Italy and Spain were alike? Yeah, I didn't, for whatever reason, I did not go to Italy, and I meant to and could have. It was a hop, skip, and a jump. Meaning I just go to the airport and I could have flew to Italy for free every weekend. And I don't know why I never did. But yeah, they Spain and Italy probably been similar. I had friends who were in Italy and they would tell me that like when you have a direction that the cars go, but there's no lanes. You get in where you fit in. Now, I can't do no shit like that, but apparently people can. And in Spain, they drive on the same side of the car the way we do. In Japan, not. I had to learn how to do that both ways, and oddly enough, it's not as hard as you think it is. Said Croatia had the good glass. Belgium was beautiful. I went in that area. We went up through the Adriatic Sea. I went to Slovenia. You know where Trump's wife is from. That's a beautiful country. I went to Slovenia. That water is rough. Let me tell you. I'm on this big boy, this big old carrier, and I'm kind of close to the top, like right near and right underneath the flight line, and the water splash is coming up like a sheet of ice right in front of me. You know how tall that is? That sea state was nothing to play with. But I tell you this, it's weird to be a grown ass woman being rocked to sleep. So what you do is you get in your rack meaning bed, put your boot on one end or something, or in the middle, however you put it. And or they had straps though. You could strap yourself in, but the carrier go, it just rocks side to side. And then sometimes it go up and down and slam down. You can go to side to side. Now, if you was on a smaller ship, that's when that shit be turning damn near all the way over, but it don't completely turn over. But that's reality. But we got to Slovenia and I thought it was the most cleanest, the part that I saw, most beautiful, one of the most beautiful places. Like you don't even be realizing the air quality that you may have here in the States versus somewhere else until you go somewhere else. That's why a lot of time, because I've been all over the world, y'all. I've had to live and accommodate and acclimate myself amongst the locals. Whenever I went somewhere, I dwelled with the locals. I didn't, you know, live on base all the time and everything. I dwelled with the locals, and I learned how they got along in life and did what they did, from stuff like air conditioning, heating, how they wash clothes, how they did this. I hung up clothes to dry sometimes. Transistors, transformers. When we plug our stuff is 120, theirs is 220. I know this is some remedial stuff for some people, like, okay, whatever. But it makes a difference when you talk about quality of life. And there is a difference. And this is why politically I feel the way I feel, because I know the importance of our status as a country when it comes to around the world, and who we have at the helm versus who we be getting. So, but yeah, a lot of things change or whatever. Sergio, we're gonna be welcoming him back. I don't want to get up because I could talk for days. I'd have been all over the world. I've been to Laos. I've been to Laos. And that's just like a little, it's big enough to have a airport strip to land in there, a couple of stores, whatever. That's all it is. In the middle of nowhere in the ocean. Gibraltar. Transformers are very important overseas. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they give it to you. That's what you need to convert your house over to accommodate the type of outlets and stuff that you have, like device, even like something like simple as a hot comb or a curling iron or something like that, or iron. You can't just plug it up in there. Shit, you'll blow some shit up. But vice versa here, they can't come over with their stuff and plug their shit up in your stuff. They'll blow some shit up. You have to have like a transformer. And they could be individual little small transformers for the particular item. But what I would do is I buy a big one, have them come over to the house that I get and convert that shit. I lived in I had marble floors. I had spiral staircase. You couldn't tell me shit. But they didn't have phone. Nobody overseas, they not like us. They don't plop in front of the TV. They got so much shit to do. Um, yeah, and I had a TV that shows Spanish TV, but see, they scramble their cable all the time just so you don't steal it, because cable stealing was big there, like it is here. A crime period. A novice criminal here would get over like a fat cat over there, because they not on that type of time. They don't even understand. They could never keep up. It's like you from the South going way up to New York and trying to mix in those. They'll run all over you. They could if they wanted to. It's kind of the same way if you over here come over there, but it don't never work that way in the end, because it's more of them than it is you. You gonna realize you have to bend towards what they do. It's gonna be something about their culture that makes you bend to how they do things across the board, or you're gonna be a fish out of water. And when they put the pressure on their peer groups, like they hold their men to the letter. You know what I'm saying? They don't fuck around. Like in America, y'all dudes will check it off like, he just playing. Let that man breathe. That's that man, whatever. They don't do that shit. You don't take care of your family, your name is mud. And they'll let you know that. Every time you turn around and you looking for a come up, somebody gonna have that boot on your neck. That shit, they do not play that. But in the same token, you cannot pin a baby on the dude over there. It's up to him to claim it. If he don't claim it, oh well, ain't gonna be no court date. Ain't gonna be no going to child support and all that shit. Not over there. And you would think, be like, how do y'all fix this? Somehow or another, it all comes out in the wash. But I see why Sergio likes it. It's not a lot of. It's very convenient for him. Very convenient. I ain't lying, y'all. I don't miss shit. But that's why I said I had to pick my words carefully. I don't miss nothing. I know. I was there. I remember when I was in Germany the first time guns were illegal. The weapons of choice was a knife. Yep. That's how it is in Europe, period. Yep. That they anybody can get a good knife, but then the knives, like the knives that do real damage, just like the people over here who got these guns or whatever, like they be having the task force looking for your ass when you roll in like that, because here's where the ego and the bravado step in. If you got a smooth ass night, you gonna show somebody, and this you don't know if they gonna tell on you. I told you they hold men accountable. They really do. But prostitution is legal. Is legal in Spain. That is. I don't know about England, and I don't think the other countries, they don't seem like it's hard to do. England probably more close how we are, but like I don't know about Germany. I was over there having a kid. Um, but like Spain, prostitution is legal. It don't seem like it's hard in Japan neither, but sure they got you don't want to get arrested in the East. Nowhere. You ain't never gonna be the same. I was like, you better go look at them Chuck Norris POD POW type movies. You don't want to get arrested over there. You don't want to get arrested in Spain neither. They don't put money into their jails. If you don't have a family that really love you to know to show up at certain times during the week to give you whatever you think you need, like even stuff that like food, then you're shit out of luck. And it ain't no let me call them and remind them. No, you don't do that. When you in jail, you in jail. You're gonna live in squalor. So I mean, they don't have our problems. And when somebody asked me one time, what you mean prostitution is legal? Prostitution is right out there by the airport. As soon as you land in certain parts of Spain, it's always right by the airport. It's in the city. The cops go over there. My next door neighbor's husband, he used to be there all the time. She knew shit. If she was walking down the street and saw her husband walking there, she better keep the fuck walking. That's what she better do. I mean, this shit be fucking me up. Like, lady, did you just, don't you know he? I had to learn. I had to learn this. And all the girls in there, for the most part, look like Jennifer Lopez or something like that, or Salma Hayek or something. I mean, that's what they look like. The Turkish people in Germany used to always want to fight the soldiers. It was some fun times. The Turkish men frowned upon their women dating Americans. Wild times, red light districts, legal. Yep. You know what else? You know what other place is like that, Demetrius? Uh I always wanted to go to Amsterdam. I did not. I did not, but I always wanted to go. And this before I ever even, knew how to even smoke that shit. Amsterdam was free, free, free. The place of freedom. That's what I keep hearing. um, Hawaii, which is an American state. I ain't even say territory. One time it was, but it's a state and have been for years. Um, which I found weird. They tired of y'all dudes. They don't like this. That's the only place I've been where they just as sick of white men as they would be of any other color dude. Black men too. Because what they don't like is y'all dudes messing with their women. And everybody, every type of man, whatever race, can get it. And them motherfuckers, they might be short, a little smaller than you. Some of them big like the Rock. There's a whole lot of them over there. But when I tell you they whoops ass, they be damn near whooping you within an inch of your life. You're lucky if you don't die. That shit is always going down in Hawaii. They can't stand white dudes. They don't like black dudes. The only group of people that they never have a problem with, because they don't like some certain women too that come over there. But the only group that never have a problem, who never get beat up, who never hardly get jumped, is guess who? Black women. And that is the God's honest truth, because I lived there. I'm telling you, that is, I was like, what? So I could go anywhere on that island. I didn't worry about anything. They never fuck with black women. And I'm not saying nothing about them being scared. It's how we carry ourselves. We don't pose a threat to them. We don't do anything that really pisses them off. I'm talking about their locals. Everybody else, they don't like. Budapest, Booty Fest. Hungary was the place we had to go for R&R. Very beautiful place. Isn't it like real clean and refreshing in certain places in Europe? Even if they rudimentary and the technology that they have or you think they got, very, oh my God, you cannot put a price tag on fresh air and cleanness. Now I would tell you, if you ever go to Europe, drink bottled water, because your system is not made up to deal with how they treat their water. You used to how we treat our water. But so drink bottled water. Before I went to Europe, I always drank tap water, no problem. I came back. I've never in my life, since I was in my early 20s, went back to drinking tap water. Can't do it. So that's what I would advise. And then there's places that you really got to do that. Russia was funny. Russia is funny. I have a Russia big hat with the fur and the little sim. I have that in my closet right now. Because I said I gotta buy something where they know that's something authentic, and that's what I bought. I could have bought some other shit, but I was like, nah, I ain't want to pack my my lockers with a whole bunch of shit. We had some good Italian food in Russia. But Russian man loves boobs. Russian man loves booze. Yes, they do. It was weird. When I went to Russia, I was so psyched out of my mind because I ain't never think I would go. I went all over the East, Malaysia, Singapore. When I got to Singapore, oh my God. So I've been around the world. And look, I'm going down memory lane. I don't know why. I've been to Greece too. Greece is beautiful. It looked just like how they be looking on the movies. But in the town, some stank people. Not all. I know. Look, shout out to the Grecians or Greece people. However you say it. Um, some of y'all top echelon folks, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Is where you would go in to buy your gold and all that shit. And folks, they could use a bath or two. The gyro and the palmy fritters fries was on point. That curry and schnitzel was delicious. And see, for me, Demetrius, I couldn't engage because I was so particular. I didn't know then how bad my allergies were to food. So I just know that when I ate, I got sick. So I was like real scared to eat a whole lot of shit. I was in Greece for 7 days. At first, I wasn't gonna get off the ship. They made me get off. When I tell you that water is so beautiful, you hear me? That blue is mm, mm, mm. And then the little rocks that be in the water, and Spain like that too. Mm. I thoroughly did enjoy my time. So look, I know y'all went down memory lane, and I only brought up Spain in the beginning because I was just telling y'all how shit is in Spain. So when I'm peeping Sergio, I know what I see. I don't think y'all see what I see, but having lived over there, and I know what time that shit is and how it goes, I see something different. Now, I done got joked on for many years about my choice and my little Spanish boyfriend there. Uh, he wore me down. It wasn't like my first choice, but the dude, people in Europe, they're very romantic. He will send messages through people I don't even know. Like I just be walking on the base and they'll walk up to me and ask me, "Am I so and so?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they be like, "I don't even know this person." And they just like handed me a note like this from somebody. He begged me to get this to you and blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm not the only black girl on this base. How'd you know it was me? You know? And why did you stick to it? Like I was like, how long did you have this letter? And he would be like, for a week now. A week. And we like young, we 22. Like you give me a letter to go find somebody, and I'm gonna keep up with it. I'm gonna have it in my pocket every day just in case I run into this person. I don't know what he could have said, but he was adamant, and I was like, okay, damn, that kind of thing. And then he was a sweet guy. He really did. He really did care for me. And then Pete this y'all, he was a millionaire. No bullshit. But I wasn't Catholic and I wasn't Spanish. So I wasn't going to get the ring in the end, no matter what happened. And his daddy let him know that. Spain, like the Love and Basketball movie overseas for female basketball players. Yeah. I think they were in Spain or were they in Italy? Spain is beautiful. Oh my God. Go to and if you ever get a chance to go to the Canary Islands. Everything is cheap over there. And all their cars that you rent are stick shifts. Well, I don't know what they do today, but back then it was all stick shifts. So a lot of people learn how to drive stick over there. I been knew how to drive stick, but people learn how to drive stick over there. Um, when they have those little towns off the side of a coast, or the little chairs, and they drinking some kind of cafe con leche or those churros. That shit you buy in the States ain't got shit on how the shit really tastes over there. When I'm telling you, it is so goddamn good. So good. Now, the best thing that they can make is motherfucking pollo asada, like chicken, garlic chicken. I don't know how they do it, but as I told y'all before, Germany gonna win that battle as far as cooking different groups of or cultures, food, and tasting good. I give it to Germany. You go to Germany, you want some soul food, you're gonna get some soul food. And it's gonna be good as a bitch. You want some Italian, you're gonna get some Italian, and it's gonna be good as a bitch. And so forth and so on. And most of the other countries, they can't do it like that. I wish I'd have went to Italy. I went to Scotland. Nothing to really say about that. Ain't got nothing to say about that. Um, Europe is cool. It's cool. I'm glad I had the experience. But anywho, I know. Look, I went down memory lane on y'all. I'm sorry for that or whatever. This things I'm gonna always remember in my life, and yeah, I'm glad I had that experience. But anywho, when you know better, you do better. And we're gonna see y'all tomorrow. We don't know what news it's gonna be. I'll be on the lookout. But everything I tell you, I'm gonna try to, keep up. If I find out a way to get to Sergio's fight, I will. If I can play it, because I don't know if I gotta worry about copyright here because it'll be their shit, and not he's not gonna be on any network that I know of. France was okay. Yeah, France, even though I didn't really go to France, I would think France, you say you didn't make it to France either. I would think that France is kind of like England. Like England, it could be like New York. Like you could be feeling like you're in there's certain parts like London and stuff. You could feel like you're in New York or whatever. It could be dirty parts, it could be clean parts. I mean, it's just like America. Y'all know every time they do a movie and they have Washington D.C., they make the shit look good, right? Have you ever been to Washington D.C.? You can go from a big, high, distinguishable building and right next to it a row of crack houses. That's DC though, but that's not how it look in the movies. So you gotta expect most countries have the same problem. Have the same problem. You know what I'm saying? But when you talking about Europe and Spain, some of the oldest living cities like Cadiz and um, Moorish temples and castles and stuff, even though they don't like to give the Moors the props, they ruled Spain from 711, talking about the year 711 to 1492. Don't that number sound familiar? That's when they was able to run the Moors up out of there. 800 years, the Moors ran Spain. That means everybody in Europe was doing as Moorish people do. Their culture is really Moorish with a hybridization of other people's culture because nothing was ever invented in Europe. Let me get off my bandwagon. I hope I ain't piss nobody off with that statement, but it's a fact. It's a fact. But anywho, when you know better, you do better. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.